When that stressful situation comes, if you didn't do your preparation ahead of time, you're already done. I did boot camps all over the world and traveled to something like 66 countries. I had a lot of fun doing that. And you learn a lot of things about human nature and about yourself and about others and different cultural things that you really couldn't learn in any other way. And that really helped me a lot with investments, helped me a lot with business, helped me a lot, with both in an entrepreneurial context and also in investments. That you learn things about human behavior and like marginal decision making, how people make decisions under stress, how substances or various externalities, impair or affect human decision making. And I made a lot of money, in these recessions. Whenever you have a good recession, you get to see the same things play out. That when people get stressed out, when they feel there's a scarcity of something or an abundance of something, they behave very differently. And then you see that human traits of being myopic, being focused on little things, being short-sighted, not being, temporal discounting, not being able to think about the bigger picture or, second and third order effects. People make terrible decisions in the stock market during those times. And they go sell stocks because everybody else is panicked. They turn on the news and they see panic. They talk to their friends and they see panic. Everybody's scared, and they sell things when they should be buying. And I love to be the buyer during those times. And several of you were the beneficiary of those times that you made money like that this year. You made money like that this year. You did. Randy did. You made a lot of money doing that this year. That's probably something you did too. Yep. And that trusting your judgment about human nature over whatever the mainstream media is saying, over whatever the people, I want to say idiots, that you work with are saying. You hear me talk about fighting that way too. It's the same thing. There's a lot of psychology in all of those things in your dating life, or in a context of violence, or in an entrepreneurial type thing. And you've been working on all three of those, or at different points in your life, and all three of them, recently. That I kind of, I use that language sometimes interchangeably between those things, but the psychology involved in, violent conflict, dating, in business, is a lot of overlap, What are some of your insights regarding that, or the overlap of those things, that how one helps the other?
I think it's like you've mentioned many times before, it's about making decisions on the margin. So you have, a high-risk situation where you have to draw on your previous experiences and your essentially trust in yourself to make a decision like that. And you don't have the people who don't make those decisions like that have lost. So I think that tracks across all three.
When that stressful situation comes, if you didn't do your preparation ahead of time, you're already done.
Yeah, I mean that's any time fighting, nobody like learns on the spot. You default to whatever your skill you know best. So you could have been training to be a boxer, but you did Muay Thai for 10 years. You're not going to go back. You're not going to be a boxer in the ring, no matter how much you want to be. Like, you're going to be a Muay Thai fighter in the ring. So.
Yeah, and same thing with the business. You made some comments about career stuff last night, and no need to say anything personal that you don't care to. But the training you had in those three areas, between MMA, between things we did in boot camp, between things we did in business. What are some of the outcomes that you've been experiencing, the past year or so?
I mean, so I met you, I started working with you like a little over 3 years ago, and I got a scholarship, went to school, got a job that paid high. This year I finally made I got to a 6-figure salary I grew up poor, so that was like way beyond what I had imagined. And then I increased it again, another 22.5%. And then I've made, 4.5x return on the market, and I've got some pretty amazing things I'm working on for starting a business. So I mean, it's really just like all of those things. Just once you start figuring it out, just kind of
The confidence of those things, and I'm not a well-trained fighter like you are, but having some of those, nasty moments earlier in life, or a lot of violent situations, as a child or a teenager, I don't have a fear of things that some other people are scared of, and that really helps. It helps you navigate the world when you do have, when you bump heads with somebody, and they understand, that you can smell that immediately when somebody else is scared, and they understand immediately where, like this isn't somebody to fuck with, and that helps a lot in negotiations. Helped a lot with girl things and the conflicts that come up with men that you talked about. That, I'm not out getting in a lot of fights, but a guy also knows if he puts his hands on me that there'd be consequences to doing that, and that helps you a lot. I'd say it this way: if you weren't afraid of violence, and you were having 5-6 beautiful sex partners in your life, you see how you might be a better negotiator in a business context as well. So you got to sit across the table from some fucking nerd attorney in a suit, and you're like, you're like, dude, I'd kick your ass and fuck your daughter. What the fuck are you talking about? So he's trying to talk tough to you, and like in your head, all you can think is like, bro, I'd kick your ass and fuck your daughter right in front of you, and there's nothing you could do about it. That changes your response to whatever the context is, and I found a lot of synergies like that in life, between those various disciplines, and the decision at the margins is the one. Confidence is a big one. Entrepreneurship is a magical thing that you can't make that kind of money being an employee somewhere. You have to have a pay for performance. Like the only type of any of the guys that work with me is Travis or anybody. It's all I want my incentives and their incentives in alignment, because you can't trust anybody to do a damn thing for you if you don't have that. If you don't have similar incentives, people behave differently. So that there's a few business models that are that way, or various sales things, or there's a few business models that you can have that pay for performance and still be in a bigger company. But with all the fucking political correct gibbers that you're supposed to jump through hoops and not really allowed to have a personality or a soul or anything, I think there's so much better opportunity in entrepreneurship, and for anybody who's willing to take on those responsibilities. And you're gonna have plenty of days where you're gonna eat shit and you're gonna hate it, and you're like, this sucks, and you get up and go do it anyway. And then it gets a little easier, and it might be 2 or 3 years of this sucks, pivot to a different thing, this sucks too. If you do that for 2, 3, 4 years, an okay entrepreneur, not a great entrepreneur, but an okay entrepreneur is still going to make a few $100,000 a year, or a couple million a year maybe. So, and the real key thing there is that an okay entrepreneur is going to end up making considerably more money than they're spending on their lifestyle expenses, more than you need for food and rent and any reasonable amount of travel or leisure type activity that you might care to be involved in. And then that's the key thing, what you said about investing in that money is it's what I did, and what a lot of other people that end up making a decent amount of money or a lot of money. You got to get that entrepreneurial money and then reinvest it in stocks or other global market assets or real estate, etc. And at some point in your entrepreneurial journey, early in your entrepreneurial journey, if you have a job and you're working on a side business that hopefully could become a primary business, at some point you make enough money from your entrepreneurial endeavor that you don't have time to show up for work anymore. That if you had a full-time job, plus a business that you were building, you don't even need to wait for your business to replace the total income from your job. So if you were making 60% of the money in your business that you were making in your job, you'd probably quit that job and double down on your business, and very quickly you'd be making, double the money in your business that you were making in your job, rather quickly, because it has your full attention now, and then you can scale that bigger and bigger. So there's a point in entrepreneurship that you don't have time. It doesn't make sense for you to show up to work anymore, and then there's another point later on in entrepreneurship that you've saved enough capital that you're living a comfortable life, not a crazy extravagant life, hopefully, yet. But you're living a comfortable life, but you're taking those, that surplus money and investing in that and investing in that and investing in that. And it's not so many years until there's a point where you're making, similar or more money from your investments that you're making from a business. So, when people hear about entrepreneurship, they're like, I don't know how to build the next Google. But you don't have to. But you don't have to. If you were an okay entrepreneur, you'd go find a few $100,000 a year. If you lived on 10 grand a month, which most people could do well enough, then maybe you're putting away $250,000 a year, or 100 grand, or $500,000, or whatever the fuck the number is. You do that for a few years, and then you have a good recession like we just had, and you invest that money and get to multiply it, and now you got 5-10 million. You do that again, and now you got 15 or 30 or 40 or 50 million. And then that's the beautiful time. Is then you're really an investor much more than you're an entrepreneur. And I think that's the greatest luxury that I have in my life right now is like, I don't want a penny of entrepreneurial money that's not going to be fun for me too. I don't have time to have any clients in my business that I wouldn't sincerely enjoy spending time with. I'd just rather not have the money. There's so much, I'm very attuned to distressed investing, so I love buying shit when other people are scared and things are on sale. It's really my best niche is the thing I'm best at. So if I do nothing, if I literally did nothing for 5 or 10 years and just wait for the next recession to happen, if a recession never comes, I don't have to do anything else, But it's a really nice spot to be in, that to the extent that you're still doing entrepreneurial things, you're really doing it from your heart, and you want to be there, you want to do the thing, So I'm just kind of putting that framework in your head and in their heads is like, if you could think of it that way, it'll help you with the shit that you have to eat for 1 or 2 or 3 years. It'll help you to tolerate that it's not that your whole life is going to be eating shit. It's that, that's the price you'll pay of building those foundations, that to be in a situation where you just don't have time to show up to a job. It wouldn't make any sense to show up to a job. And then later, you don't have time to do entrepreneurial things that you find distasteful, that you'd have to either outsource them or omit them entirely, and you're going to focus on the things that are really from your heart, that are very fulfilling for you to be a part of, that was extremely important for my life. I wanted to build that, and I'm happy to help other people build that, because those type of friends I want to have. Who the fuck else do you want to hang out with? Am I going to hang out with a normal person out there, So those are the type of friends I want to have, and this is the best way that I could think of to. I joined a bunch of other social groups a lot. I spent a lot of fucking money joining various social groups, and they're I won't say much about them, but I didn't find a better one than I built myself. I wouldn't have gone through the trouble to go fucking filter through people to go create like the mastermind group. If I could just go pay for access, I'd be just delighted to pay $100,000 a year to go hang out with those people, rather than making the effort to go do that myself. So it's really a special group that I'm kind of fussy and particular about, that I only want certain type of people there. But I think I haven't found a better way, or I haven't found anything else that I think would be more satisfying in my life.
The main reason why I got into the course was I'm making a product, actually a detailed product that I want to sell online. And I wanted to learn the skills or whatever I needed to be able to sell that product online and to be able to scale it. But it's funny, going through this course, and I've only been through it, I think this is week 5. Man, the things I've learned so much. I didn't know I'd learned this much, because me owning a business for so long, I thought it'd be a lot of stuff I already knew. But no, it's way more. to the point where I'm looking at not only my product business that I'm looking to launch, but also the business that I currently own, like all the things I can switch and change in it to grow it even more. Like I'm revamping pretty much everything that I'm doing in my business, changing some things, got some new ideas to where I know I can take advantage of the market and increase my market share. You're going to learn a lot in this business. It's going to make you introspective, look inside a lot. It teaches you like the core values of what a business owner is and how to optimize your time, how to optimize your ideals and everything you do, everything that goes into running and, you know, having a successful business.
Thanks for watching. Success is not for everybody, and it may not be for you. But if you're a current or future champion, if you have what it takes to win, and you are dedicated to a life of more winning, more success, a life of abundance with other people that have shared values to learn more and earn more, if that's you, you're going to want to follow this channel. You're going to want to watch my video releases every Monday and every Friday. I look forward to working with you in the future. I'll see you back here soon.